let's take a look at this essay from the story The Jacket. My mother always said, sometimes one unfortunate event can ruin your entire day. In The Jacket, the narrator blames the distasteful jacket that his mother buys him for all of the trials that he faces at school. He believes that the jacket is the cause for the D he'd received on a math quiz and the bullying he'd experienced the day after he'd first gotten the jacket. He also believes that it is possible for the gossip about him from the other students and his inability to start a relationship with a girl. Now, if we look closely here, you'll find that there are some mistakes. Number one, my mother always said, comma before the quotation is good, sometimes one unfortunate event can ruin your entire day. In The Jacket, there's a comma, the narrator blames the distasteful jacket that his mother buys him. I would prefer using the past tense here since you already used the past tense and everything else, so that his mother bought him for all of the trials he faced. I don't like the use of the word trials, okay? Perhaps you could use the word like for all the problems that he faced at school, for all of the misfortunate events or the misfortunes that he faced, something like that. That he faced at school. Again, I'm talking in the past tense. He believes, okay, or he believed, if I decided to talk in the past tense from the beginning, that the jacket is the cause or was the cause for the D he had received on a math quiz and the bullying he had experienced the day after he had first gotten the jacket. Now, here you used he'd and he'd, meaning he had, which is the past perfect tense, which should come before the past tense. So that means you need to change buys and faces and believes and is to past tenses in order to use the past perfect he'd, which is he had. Okay? If you want to use is and buys and faces as present tense, then everything in the story should be in the present tense. In general, I prefer that you use the simple past tense to talk about things that happened in the story. And if you want to show that the other action, which is he'd received and he'd experienced and he'd first gotten, happened before that action in the past, then you use the past perfect like you did right here. So to make this paragraph correct, I would change buys and faces and believes and is into past tenses. And I would keep the other ones in the past perfect. However, as we said, we prefer not to use apostrophes and rather use the complete form. So for the D he had received on a math quiz and the bullying he had experienced the day after he had first gotten the jacket. He also believed that it is responsible, the jacket was responsible for the gossip about him from the other students and his inability to start a relationship with a girl. So what I like about your introduction here is that you clearly pinpointed reasons or answers to the question, okay? The question was, what does the narrator blame the jacket for? So here you said that he believes that the jacket is the cause for the D he received, the bullying he experienced, and he also believes that it is responsible for the gossip about him and his inability. So I don't know if these are 4 different things or if you will incorporate them together into 3 paragraphs. Let's take a look. First, the narrator blames the jacket for the D he'd gotten on a quiz and being victimized during recess. Now here we have the parallelism in the sentences are really good. The narrator blames the jacket or blamed the jacket for the D he'd gotten on a quiz. And he blames the jacket for being victimized. In this case, you should say first the narrator blames the jacket for the D he'd got on a quiz and for being victimized during recess. He says, that was the first afternoon with my new jacket. The next day I got a D on a math quiz. During the morning recess, Frankie T, the playground terrorist, pushed me to the ground and told me to stay there until recess was over. He is adamant that the jacket his mother had got him is connected to the misfortunes he'd faced the next day. Now, here you said had got, even though before here you said he'd gotten, which is he had gotten. Now, both are correct. One is British, one is American. You should choose to only write one throughout your whole essay. From the narrator's point of view, the jacket had been the cause for his unsatisfactory grade on his quiz, as well as the reason why Frankie T had picked on him. In conclusion, he blames the unappealing jacket that his mother had bought him for these unfortunate events. Okay, so you summarized your example, your body paragraph, with a conclusive sentence, with a closing sentence, which is very good, and you did use quotes from the actual passage. So again, very, very good. I like how you said first at the beginning, and now I can see next here. So this shows a flow of ideas, which is really good. Next, he blames the jacket for the gossip about him that has circulated throughout the students at school. Going outside in his disagreeable jacket when the fire alarm rings, he recollects, I really like that. Although they didn't say out loud, man, that's ugly, I heard the buzz of gossip and even laughter that I knew was meant for me. When the students around him begin to whisper and look at him strangely, he blames it on the ugly jacket that he has to wear. Again, you're using present tense and past tense. Throughout the story, you need to decide on which tense you are going to be using. He believes that it is the cause of the unwanted attention he is receiving, and he abhors the jacket, good word, even more for it. In summary, he holds the insufferable jacket for the gossip about him at school. I really like how you concluded using in summary. Very good idea. Finally, so I can see a third paragraph here. So we had first, then we had next, then we had finally. Good idea. The narrator attributes his inability to start a relationship with a girl with the unattractive jacket that he's had to wear to school. Again, he's had, this is the present perfect tense. If you're going to decide to do it all in the past tense, then it would be that he had, okay, to wear to school. He says, even the girls who were friendly blew away like loose flowers to follow the boys in neat jackets. The girls don't take interest in him, and he holds the jacket accountable for it. He believes that it makes him disagreeable to them, especially when they seem to find boys in neat jackets perfectly amiable. Good word. Now, here you used that he holds the jacket accountable for it. And in the previous paragraph, you also said the same thing here. He abhors the jacket even more for it. By it here, you mean the whole situation, and you can't use a pronoun like it to refer to a phrase or a sentence. It would be considered an ambiguous pronoun. So I prefer that you would say something like the girls don't take interest in him, and he holds the jacket accountable for this misfortune, or for this problem, or for this issue, something like that. As he watches the passing scenery with the ugly boys at school, he recalls, we saw girls walking alone. We saw couples, hand in hand, their heads like bookends pressing air together. When there are couples all about, the girls who are walking alone do not approach the boys at all. Therefore, the narrator holds the jacket responsible for his inability to start a relationship with a girl. Very, very good. Finally, your conclusion. The narrator's unsatisfactory grade on his math quiz and the bullying he'd experienced during recess are instances in which he blames the jacket for his misfortunes. Excellent. I love this sentence. The gossip about him that circulates throughout the school and his inability to appear likable to a girl are also causes, I like how you used also, for the trials, not a very good word, he faces from his point of view. The disappointment of receiving an ugly jacket influences him into thinking that all of the hardships he's had to put up with are a result of the jacket, are a result of that jacket. A teacher of mine once said, don't get worked up over the small obstacles that you face in life. Otherwise, it can leave you discontented for a long time afterward. Really nice. Of course, these are two complete sentences right here, so I would prefer to make this in a semicolon like this and then put a comma. Otherwise, it can leave you discontented for a long time afterward. Now, remember, you can use quotes for your introduction or your conclusion from the actual story. Okay, so instead of saying a teacher of mine once said, you can conclude by quoting the narrator or someone else from the story if it is relevant, but your quote here is really, really good. Good job.